All right, we have an international lawyer, Olufemi Aino, in the studio with us to discuss this. Good morning, and it's good to see you again.
Yes, thank you. It's nice to see you too.
So no one seems to be able to account for Nnamdi Kanu's whereabouts. First off, make us explain whose responsibility really is it to produce the defendant?
Well, initially when you charge people to court, the responsibility is on the prosecution to start with, to produce the accused person. But once the person is granted a bail and they are sureties, that responsibility will now fall on those sureties. And when granting bail, what the courts normally consider is that if granted bail, will this person appear for the trial? If the person doesn't appear for trial, then you look at the sureties and ask them to come and show cause. So first of all, to explain why this person did not turn up. But there's something I would just like to mention for your benefit and the benefit of your viewers. You see, once you stand as a surety and the court is going to sit at 9 a.m. in the morning, you come with the accused person by 7 to court. That responsibility is discharged at that point because the responsibility placed on you is to produce that person in court. The moment the person has entered the court, then the responsibility is that of the court because it's within the precinct of the court. And you do see occasionally where those people will turn up in the morning, before the judge comes into court, they just disappear. And then there will be question whether the surety should forfeit their bond or what have you. And they can turn around and say, look, as at that time, it is up to you whether you want to take him into custody. My own is just to produce him in court. And what this judge has done is to say, look, I'm going to give you the benefit, you must produce him. And if you can't produce him, come and show cause. If you are unable to show that cause, then it may well be you are going to forfeit your bond. And that is what is likely to play out.
Okay, now in all of this now, Senator Nnamdi Baribe and 2 others who stood as sureties for Nnamdi Kanu, how much of trouble are they in right now? Is it just about forfeiting the bond?
It goes beyond that. Okay. You see, before you look at that, let me just take 1 or 2 steps backward. And this is the problem with the legal system in Nigeria, because one has experience of other jurisdictions. Normally, when people are coming forward to stand bail, it is quite important. You see, the judge hear a bail application, he grants them bail in principle. The perfection of the bail condition now shifts either the court registrar, the prison superintendent, or what have you. Now, if the judge has the surety that produce an affidavit on means, they don't go before the judge, they go before the registrar to show that this way.
Yes.
And that is what is wrong with the system. Ideally, if you want to stand as a surety, you come inside the witness box so that we ask you a question whether you know your responsibility as a surety. And normally, the ideal person to stand surety in some circumstances is the wife of the accused person, because they can exercise control, they live in the same house. The accused person wouldn't want the wife to go to prison. But they go and look for people who are not connected with them, or people who are doing this for political reasons or ethnic reasons. And that can cause all sorts of problems. But if you hear from them, you need to make sure they know the responsibility that is placed on them.
Yes.
Anybody can just turn up in court and go and say, we have a surety. The judge doesn't hear from them. He said, these are the conditions. Then they go before the registrar.
So in this case, did Nnamdi Baribe understand the conditions clearly and what the consequences of failure to produce Nnamdi Kanu in court?
Yes, I take your point, but the point is that if you look, this is a distinguished senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Yes.
He's a lawmaker, so you cannot consider him like somebody who's selling plantain crisps in Atagege or so. So he's somebody you expect he knows the responsibility. And he has made an application to discharge himself. But there's an issue there. As soon as the court granted bail to this gentleman, it started just a few days afterwards. He started breaching the condition of that bail. Let's forget about what happened in September, whether invasion and all that. You as a shorty, what did you do at that particular point in time? Because part of the condition, if my memory serves me right, was that he must not assemble, he must not address the press.
Yes.
And this man was just treating the court like treating the other in a frivolous way. So what you need to do as a shorty at that point, as a responsible shorty, is to approach the court that, look, my lord, you granted bail to this person on this condition XYZ, and the person has been breaching it. I'm no longer interested. You don't wait until some few months after, then somebody is going to ask you when you come whether to forfeit the bond or not. Why did you not make that application promptly? And also, when you are considering granting bail, you must look whether this person can have an influence on the accused person. For instance, if the accused person is going to appear in court in Abia State, and he lives in Abia, and you are the shorty, you live in Lagos, how are you going to ensure? Do you understand me? So you see, you need to look at that proximity as well, and look at whether you have a connection. But you can't just turn up if you don't know the person.
So now that he's asking the court or praying the court to withdraw
to discharge
or discharge him
yes,
as shorty,
as a shorty,
is it not too late?
Well, that is a matter the judge will. That's a matter the judge will have to decide.
On what,
but I leave you to
on
read
what
my
basis
lips.
would the court really? I mean, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, now let me ask this question:
Yes, please.
when people come to bail conditions, sometimes, and when monies are attached, sometimes the amount of the money is so high in the minds of what really determines. What determines the amount of money that is stipulated as bail condition for?
Yes, I'm glad.
X,
you
Y,
see,
Z.
I'm glad you asked that question, and that's the problem. You see, what makes people to comply with bail conditions is not money, because if it's about money, most of the criminals will get bail. Because don't forget. Take, for instance, somebody who has robbed a bank and what have you. He will have used that money to buy property, and then some of his associates will have benefited from that. So if you are looking at money, he will have passed that money to some people, and they will come forward and this. You see, what will make an accused person comply with bail condition, you have to make sure your judicial system is quite effective, and the accused people to have confidence in that. That is one. But normally, what happens is that the judge, there are so many factors the judge has to consider in granting bail. One of them is to look at the offense is being charged, the person has been charged with, and also look at the punishment for that offense. It will look at the antecedent of the accused person, whether he has a past criminal record. The judge will also look at whether it's likely the person is going to interfere with the investigation and what have you. And then you now need to impose a condition that will ensure, if it's the wife of the accused person, there's no point asking her to come and pay 100 million to court, irrespective of the offense, because they live in the same house. She will have an influence over him. That's that. But by the time you start putting all these onerous conditions, it can create all sorts of problems, because number one, it can lead to an appeal. Number two, it means you did not grant bail. So the conditions has to be very flexible, and it should be such that the accused person or whoever is coming forward will be able to stand with. But what we have in Nigeria, you get all these ex-minister or ex-YC politically exposed people. Some of them are charged for stealing from the ministry. And then when the judge grants bail, then he will say, go and bring a director who is working with another ministry. You see, it creates all sorts of confusion.
Exactly.
And so care has to be taken, otherwise some people
and
will
the 100
think,
million naira bond, you know, to the ordinary Nigerian, this is a huge
lot,
sum of money.
And that's
are we
from
saying
one,
that
and that's from one person.
A regular senator in Nigeria should have that kind of money? But
Well,
we'll allow you answer that question. Let's bring in Foladele to give us another perspective. Foladele, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you back.
Honestly, another perspective for sure. And I must say, good morning, Olufemi, and Olufemi rather. And I'm really loving this conversation. I think we must all feel like lawyers because you've really broken it down.
Yeah,
we really understand.
I'm feeling like a learned person now.
Exactly.
It's a feeling though.
So let's find out what Nigerians are saying and which other perspectives they're pulling out. Great Gracious says, because of the Nigerian army, Senator Baribe is right now looking for Nnamdi Kanu like bedbug. And someone continues and says, has Kanu now turned into a pin?
A needle in the haystack.
Yes. And Mary says, by flouting his bail conditions, Kanu simply made all understand that he can equally equally appear in court. But Abaribe didn't raise alarm then. So maybe he saw this coming.
It's part of what
he was saying, exactly. Alexander says, IPOB, Senator Abaribe and co, they all know where lily-livered Kanu is hiding. Okay. Favor says, the Nigerian army should produce Nnamdi Kanu the way they produced other IPOB leaders. Senator Abaribe wasn't part of their Python dance. Angela Boris says, the onus is on those alleging that Kanu is in the NA custody to provide proof that he is truly there. And Pelumi says, one thing is apparent, his absence is strategic and deliberate, be it by the government or by IPOB. For now, who is responsible remains to be known.
Okay. Wow.
Right, Mr. Eno, let me come to you on this one. So, you're an international lawyer, so of course you have interactions with others and you know how this works outside Nigeria.
Yeah, thank you.
Is Nigeria a joke? Is this something that we would see happen in other parts of the world?
Well, it happens. An accused person jumping bail is not peculiar to Nigeria alone. It does happen everywhere. But what happens is that when it happens, you get the police involved that, look, go to the address because I don't want to issue a warrant for his arrest. Yes, go and look for him. And also what we don't do here, which happen in other jurisdictions, we have a tagging system. Once the court grant bail, you can ask the accused person to be tagged, whereby they will go to his address, install this machine there, that you must be in between 7 and you must not go out until 8. And if you breach that, the tag system will flag it off. Then they can go there and pick you and just bring you before the court. And it's just unfortunate. Now, dealing with the other aspect of your question, whether the 100 million is this and that, if the court grants somebody bail, and that's the person that I will need a surety who will enter into a bond of 100 million or more than that. If I don't have the 100 million, I won't come forward. If you come forward, what you are telling, the answer is not far-fetched. You have the money. But what will happen is that it may well be, ideally, you can't just ask them to forfeit the money. You must hear from them. And at times when you hear from them and you realize they've taken all reasonable steps, it's just unfortunate what happened thereafter. Then you can reduce the amount.
Right. Yeah. Thank you, Fola. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Well, I wonder what the implications of Kanu's lawyer saying, well, the Nigerian government knows should produce him. They should know where he is. I wonder what the implication of that is to this whole stuff now.
Well, ideally, the issue is very simple. The judge has asked Senator Abaribe or whoever that they should all turn up. If they believe that this is the arm of government, which make it impossible for them to discharge their duty, it's very simple. Go and issue a summons and ask somebody to come forward.
All right.
Okay, well, of course, Abaribe has asked for more time, which is one of the options left for him to produce Kanu. I wonder what happens if he fails to produce him. But we'll have to leave it there. Olufemi Aino, international lawyer, breaking it down for us to understand the legal perspective.
Thank
and
you so
feel
much.
like a good lawyer.
Yeah, I
now.
feel like a learned person.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So much.
Thank you for having me.